Most people think the spine is just a tower of bones that holds up the body, a post, a mast, a simple mechanical support. That mistake is exactly why they age prematurely. Your spine is not a passive structure. It's a living hydraulic, neurological, and energetic system. It's the main highway through which everything that keeps you functional travels, or everything that slowly shuts you down. Each vertebra should move like a segment of a living snake. When that happens, the cerebrospinal fluid, the most valuable fluid in your body, circulates, lubricates the nervous system, nourishes the brain, and keeps your body's intelligence awake. When that doesn't happen, that fluid stagnates, and what stagnates rots. Here comes the uncomfortable part. You don't age because the years go by. You age because your spine stops undulating and you don't notice it all at once. There's no alarm. It starts with stiffness when you wake up, then with a tired back for no reason, then with a stiff neck, shallow breathing, slow digestion, and a foggy mind. Finally, with that feeling of living in a heavy body as if you were always carrying a weight around. That's not age, it's hydraulic collapse. The ancients knew it. The Taoists said that at the base of the spine, there is a sacred hinge, the gate of life and death. It wasn't poetry. It was advanced biomechanics, disguised as mysticism, so that not just anyone would use it or ruin it. That door opens with wave-like movement, not with brute force, not with working out, not with cardio, and definitely not by sitting up straight for 8 hours like a disciplined statue. Yes, that perfect posture they sold you on ages, you too. I'm sorry. When your spine becomes immobilized, your body goes into survival mode. You breathe less, move less, think slower, and use more energy to do fewer things. It's the silent beginning of functional decline. But when the spine starts moving as it was designed to, something profound changes. Not only is the back freed, but the nervous system is released, breathing deepens, vision becomes clearer, and the body regains that feline, elastic, awakened quality. It's no coincidence that animals age better than humans. They never stop undulating, they stretch in spirals. They shake themselves, they arch, they bend, and then they go on with their lives as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, we make noise when we get up from a chair and call it normal. Now listen to this carefully. You don't need more steps, you need more wave. The movement that activates the door of life is not an exercise, it's a bodily memory, a slow, controlled, conscious oscillation that awakens each vertebra, one by one, like beads on a biological rosary. And when that wave rises up your spine, the body understands the message. We're still alive, we're still moving, there's still flow. In the next part, I'm going to show you the exact movement, how to do it effortlessly, and why just a few minutes are enough. And why, if you do it wrong, absolutely nothing happens, but if you do it right, your body responds immediately. Because youth doesn't run, it ripples. This is what they conveniently left out of the instruction manual. Your brain is not fixed inside your skull. It floats. It literally floats in a precious, transparent, life-filled fluid. The ancients called it celestial water because they sensed something that science took centuries to confirm. Today we call it cerebrospinal fluid, CSF, a cold name for something profoundly alive. That fluid isn't there just to fill space, it's a system for cleaning, nourishment, and renewal. Every night when you sleep, that fluid washes your brain, carrying away metabolic waste, remnants of stress, excessive thinking, and the wear and tear of the day. It's the silent cleaning service that keeps your mind clear when it works. And here's what almost nobody tells you. That fluid doesn't move on its own. It doesn't just flow on its own, and it doesn't respond to willpower or feel-good meditation. It only moves when your spine moves. Your spine is the pump, the piston, the mechanism that drives that internal river. When the spine undulates, the fluid rises and falls. It massages the nervous system, nourishes the brain, and calms the mind. When the spine becomes rigid, when it freezes in defensive, tense, protective postures, the pump shuts off, and what was once a river becomes a pond. Now take the metaphor seriously. A flowing river stays clean, oxygenated, alive. A stagnant pond becomes murky, thick, toxic. Not out of malice, but because of a lack of movement. That's exactly what happens inside your head. When the cerebrospinal fluid flows properly, your mind is clear, your nerves are regulated, your hormonal system is balanced, and your regenerative capacity remains active. When it stagnates, mental fog appears, fatigue that doesn't go away even with sleep, anxiety without a clear cause, the feeling of always being a bit down. Even your face reflects it. The tissues lose tone, the eyes lose their brightness, thoughts become slower, more repetitive, heavier. It's not age, it's stagnant water. And the most perverse thing of all is this: you can exercise, you can walk thousands of steps, you can eat well and still keep aging if your spine no longer moves that fluid. Because true aging doesn't start in the muscles. It starts when the brain's cleaning system slows down, when the internal river stops flowing. The good news is, and here's where the twist begins, is that this flow can be reactivated, not with force, not with impact, but with a specific type of movement, wave-like, almost forgotten, that awakens one vertebra at a time, like beads on a living necklace. And when that movement returns, the river flows again. In the next part, I'm going to show you how to activate that pump, because it's gentle but deep, and because a few minutes done properly are worth more than hours of incorrect movements. Because when the water starts moving again, age begins to lose its power. Modern neuroscience has just caught up with something that Qigong masters understood more than 3,000 years ago, without MRIs, without laboratories, and without papers. Today they call it the glymphatic system, a microscopic network responsible for cleaning waste from the brain, draining toxins, misfolded proteins, residues from stress, and even from the simple act of thinking. It's the most important cleanup system you have, and it only works under one condition: that the cerebrospinal fluid is in motion. And here's the part that makes the anti-aging industry uncomfortable. That movement doesn't depend on the heart, it doesn't depend on deep breathing, it doesn't depend on their expensive plastics, it depends on just one thing. The wave of your spine. When your spine undulates, the fluid is propelled. When your spine becomes rigid, the system shuts down. That's why there are young people with tired minds, slow memory, and dull eyes, and older people with a lively presence, mental clarity, and an energy that doesn't match their age. It's not genetics, it's not luck, it's neural hydraulics. Here comes the phrase that nobody wants to hear, but that explains everything. Stiffness is not a symptom of aging. Stiffness is aging. The body doesn't age first and then becomes stiff. It becomes stiff and then it ages. And that's why the antidote isn't in a pill. It's not in a miracle supplement. It's not even in a traditional gym. The antidote is a wave, a gentle, continuous, intelligent wave, a ripple that awakens vertebra by vertebra, as if you were turning on lights in a dark tunnel. The Taoists knew it. That's why they said your youth depends on how flexible your spine is. For them, the spine was not just a mechanical part, it was the central axis of life. In Qigong, the spine is the channel through which the energy of the earth rises and the energy of heaven descends. Not as poetry, but as a precise description of how the body regulates its energy, its nervous system, and its capacity for regeneration. When the spine is fluid, the nervous system calms down, the body enters repair mode, the breath deepens on its own, and the mind becomes clear effortlessly. When the spine gets blocked, the system goes on alert. On chronic alert, the body lives in survival mode, inflammation becomes normal, and degeneration accelerates. And this is the point where modern science can no longer argue about it. Current studies show that spinal mobility directly regulates the autonomic nervous system. That system decides second by second whether you're in stress and wear mode or in rest and repair mode. It's not psychological, it's neurological. A rigid spine keeps the body on alert. An undulating spine gives it permission to heal. That's why there are people who do everything right and still feel tense, tired, old inside, and others who, without elaborate routines, maintain a quiet but obvious vitality. They don't train more, they move better. And in the next part, I'm going to show you the exact movement. What exactly activates this wave? Why doesn't it look like anything you've been taught? And how can just a few minutes a day restore to your nervous system a signal it hasn't received in years? You are safe, you can flow. Because when your spine remembers how to move, time starts to lose its authority over you. If your body already understood this, now let your mind catch up. There are ideas that only come through when you're not looking at a screen. Audiobooks. Voice straight to the nervous system. Audible? 30 days free. Link in the description. Ease into it slowly. The important thing is not to listen. It's what settles in while you listen. A moving spine sends a clear signal to the parasympathetic nervous system. You can let go. It's safe for your body to repair itself. A rigid spine does exactly the opposite. It keeps the body trapped in alarm mode, as if something were about to attack you, even when you're sitting in your living room. That constant state of fight or flight accelerates silent inflammation, oxidizes your cells, and slowly shuts down your mental clarity. It's not emotional stress, it's nervous system mechanics. That's why the monks who reached 100, 110, even 120 years old, lucid and still walking, didn't lift weights or run marathons with a stopwatch. They didn't do CrossFit with timers. They didn't count steps. They moved their spine every day in precise rhythmic patterns, gentle, continuous waves, almost invisible. And that minimal gesture kept their nervous system young, their brain clean, and their body as flexible as bamboo. You don't need a gym. You don't need to sweat for an hour. You don't need military discipline. You need 3 minutes. You need a wave. And right now I'm going to give it to you. This is the move that changes everything. The one that unlocks the cerebrospinal fluid pump. The one that awakens the gate that the Taoists call the entrance between life and death. It's called the spinal wave. In some traditions, it's known as the caterpillar. In others, it's called the breath of the serpent. Different names for the same principle. Life moves in waves. This movement is the most powerful that exists to reverse biological rigidity and bathe your brain with that golden fluid that cleanses, lubricates, and rejuvenates from within. And here comes the most important part. It's not about strength. It's not about stretching. It's not about making it look pretty. It's about flow. You can do it standing, sitting, or even lying down. Because this is not an exercise, it's a powerful spinal movement. You forgot when you learned to sit rigidly, to tense up to survive, to move like a rigid block instead of like a wave. Get ready. Because when you start moving your spine this way, you won't just feel physical relief. You'll feel something deeper, an internal signal that says time just lost its edge. Instructions, step by step. The spinal wave, a real how-to guide. Before you start, understand this. There's nothing to force. If you try to do it right, you'll mess it up. If you try to feel it, Your body remembers it on its own. If at any point you feel dizzy, reduce the amplitude. If you feel stiffness, make the wave smaller. This movement works even in miniature. But stop for a second. If you're still here, you've already separated yourself from the 90% who give up before they understand. Comment this phrase below and keep going. I don't age, I move. It's a sign. Those who know recognize it. Step 1. The root. Establish the neurological anchor. Stand with your feet hip width apart, not wider, not narrower. If you're sitting, sit on the edge of the chair, not leaning back. Feet flat on the floor, hip width apart. Let your knees be relaxed, not locked. Don't push them back. Think of them as shock absorbers. Now close your eyes. Take 3 deep breaths through your nose. Inhale slowly, exhale even more slowly. With each exhale, let the weight of your body drop down. Don't hold yourself up. Allow gravity to do its job. Feel the weight on the soles of your feet, heels, toes, arches. Imagine your weight melting down into the ground like warm wax. You're not pushing the earth, you're inhabiting it. This step is not symbolic. You're telling your nervous system, I'm safe, I don't need to protect myself. And without that signal, the spine doesn't flow. Step 2, the fold. Awakening the base of the channel. Now bring your attention to the pelvis, not to the abdominals, not to the glutes. To the pelvis as an independent piece. Imagine that your coccyx is a small flashlight pointing backward. Now gently tilt it forward and down. It's a minimal movement. Don't tighten your abdomen. Don't contract too hard. Just let your pelvis rotate. Feel how your lower back flattens slightly. Don't push it. Let it respond. Hold that tilt for a full breath. This is where many people make a mistake. This isn't a strength exercise. It's a neurological invitation. You're touching the base of the spine, the lower switch, the root of movement. If you did it right, you'll feel a gentle activation, a sense of awakening, or simply more presence in that area. That's enough. Step 3, the undulation, the wave that rejuvenates. Everything happens here, and here slowness is power. From that tilt of the pelvis, don't do anything extra. Just allow the movement to continue. Imagine that a wave starts in the pelvis and wants to rise. First, the lower back moves. Feel how it rounds slightly. Then the wave rises to the mid-back, that area between the shoulder blades that almost never moves. Let it give in. Then it reaches the upper back. The chest opens effortlessly. Don't stick out your chest. Let the wave do it for you. Finally, the wave reaches the neck. The head tilts gently backward. The chin lifts slightly, as if looking at the sky without seeking anything. Don't let your neck collapse. Don't force it. Now reverse the wave. Let your head fall forward. The chin lowers gently. The upper back rounds. The middle back follows, keeps following. The lower back responds. And finally, the pelvis tilts backward, as if the tailbone were pointing slightly to the ground behind you. That's a full wave. Rhythm and breathing. The mistake that most blocks results. Breathe naturally. Don't synchronize forcefully. The body knows when to inhale and exhale. The rhythm should be slow, continuous, and without pauses like a real wave. It doesn't go up fast and down slow. It doesn't get cut off. Do it for 1 to 3 minutes. That's enough to activate the glymphatic system. If you feel warmth in your back, tingling in your head, a sense of lightness or sudden mental clarity, you're doing it perfectly. Important adjustments so it works for everyone. If you have strong stiffness, make the wave very small. Micro movements work the same way. If you're sitting, keep your feet steady. The pelvis does all the work. If you're lying down, bend your knees and keep your feet on the ground. The wave happens against the floor. Don't look for amplitude, look for continuity. That's the sign of real success. When you finish, stay still for 10 seconds. If you notice deeper breathing, a looser neck, slower thoughts, a sense of space in your spine, you just activated the mechanism that slows down aging. It's not about managing it, it's neural hydraulics. And now that the pump is on, the body remembers how to stay young. 3 minutes, just 3. There's no rush, there's no goal. This isn't about getting anywhere, it's about coming back. And then it happens. First, there's a subtle, gentle warmth at the spine's base. Not burning or tense, but awakening. Then a rising tingling. Neuübung isn't a measurement, it's Viestinken, traveling through territories you haven't visited in years of silence. Maybe you'll feel your skull warm up slightly. Maybe a pleasant pressure behind your eyes. Maybe a strange clarity as if someone had cleaned not breathing. And this is where the mind usually says, I'm imagining it. No, this is not suggestion. This is not fantasy. This is not spiritual autosuggestion. This is physiology. This is the cerebrospinal fluid starting to move, bathing your brain and your spinal cord, carrying away metabolic waste, nourishing neurons, restoring rhythms that only appear when the body flows. It's the internal shower, the deep cleansing, the cleaning system that nature designed long before pills, therapies, or biohacks existed. Science calls it glymphatic activation. The ancients called it the rise of the golden elixir. 2 different languages. Talking about the same thing, you can call it whatever you want, modern name, mystical name, it doesn't matter. What matters is this: you're no longer stuck, you're no longer rusting inside, you're no longer aging on autopilot. You're reminding your nervous system what it feels like to be alive without tension. Because aging doesn't start with wrinkles, it starts with stiffness, with micro blockages, with movement that's lost so slowly you don't even notice and you just interrupted that process. This isn't exercise, it's not stretching. It's not physical discipline, this is a daily biological reset, a clear message to the body that says, I'm not running away, I'm not just surviving, I'm in repair mode. That's why the timing matters every morning, before coffee, before the phone, before the world asks anything of you. 3 minutes, 3 minutes for your spine, 3 minutes for your brain, 3 minutes to remind your nervous system who's in charge here. Because when the spine flows, the mind clears up, the body cooperates, and time starts to slow down. And that's not metaphorical, it's biology in motion. I'm going to tell you something clearly. This exercise without the next video works, but it's incomplete. The one I'm giving you now is the one that multiplies what you've just awakened. If you leave here, what you felt will fade away. If you go in, you integrate it. The difference between those who rejuvenate and those who just watch, it's in that click.